To the Rye Town Council meeting of April 18th, 2017. Please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. The flag is there. I pledge allegiance to the
flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilperson Baxter?
Here.
Councilperson Jackson?
She is here.
She's
She's
here. Councilperson Villanova?
You're her father. I
Oh.
think where is
Throw
she?
your voice.
Councilperson Nardi?
Here.
And Supervisor Zuckerman?
Yes, I'm here. Mark Councilwoman Jackson here. I don't, hope we have something called a presentation. We don't have a
No,
presentation.
we didn't put anything.
Okay, okay. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of March the 23rd?
So move.
I'll second it.
Any additions or corrections? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed. Are there any comments from the public? Communications, we have a resolution, American Legion donation for the Memorial Day ceremony. This is in the amount of $1,500, which was the budget line item. Any, a motion and a second, please?
Is this consistent with years past? Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll I'll second.
Any further discussion? If not, please call the roll.
Councilperson Jackson?
Yes.
Councilperson Baxter?
Yes.
Councilperson Nardi?
Yes.
Supervisor Zuckerman?
Yes, thank you. The tax cert matter on 900 King Street. Jeff, do you want to, or Denise, one of you want to touch base on what this is?
I can, if you want to go into executive session, I'd be happy to go into detail, but suffice it to say that this settlement is very acceptable to the school district through their attorney with whom I've been jointly negotiating. So the school district is very happy with the settlement, and I think it's very prudent that we settle it at these numbers.
And from my previous discussions, you feel that this is, under the circumstances, a very favorable settlement for the town and its constituent villages and school district, correct? All right. Any discussion on this? No. May I have a motion and a second?
Make the motion.
I'll second.
Call the roll, please.
Councilperson Jackson?
Yes.
Councilperson Baxter?
Yes.
Councilperson Nardi?
Yes.
And Supervisor Zuckerman?
Yes. Now we have a discussion on the 2017 Summer Job Readiness Program. I think that's yours, Greg.
I hope you all have a set of bullet points in your packet. Great, just hit some of the high points.
Can you speak into the podium, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
Delightfully, this is the 6th year we've had the opportunity as a town to help out the youngsters in the town who are high school students in either of the villages or in Rhinebeck, and attending one of the high schools, Blind Brook, Portchester, or who am I leaving out here?
Where you are.
Rhinebeck. Thank you, thank you.
We're used to doing.
One of the new features that we hope will help the program this year is the formation of a community advisory committee. We've not had one before, and looking to the council to help with that. I think it could help both in the recruitment of employers as well as students, and help in the evaluation of the program. So we suggest that might be a nice addition to the program. Second feature that is different this year is in past years, we tended to take the students who had applied to Rydtown Park for employment and tend to, those who didn't get employment there, we try to entreat them into the internship. This year, I think we feel pretty confident of being able to reach out to the schools directly, reach out to community organizations, reach out to the churches, and talk about the program directly, and use social media as well. So that's another feature that we're happy to add this year. Similar to previous years, it'll be about 15 students is the target number, and two components of the internship. A one-week job readiness workshop composed of the 4 skills of basic skills for employment, job search, application, interview skills, and job performance. That'll be 15 hours during the course of that first week, July 10th. Then beginning July 24th, it'll be a 4-week session in which they'll be interning in either a private enterprise, a nonprofit organization, or one of our government agencies, whether it's the town or the village of Rybrook or the village of Portchester. So that piece will remain the same. We have often concluded and proposed to do it again this year, that in September we'd come back to the council and provide you with a feedback as what seemed to go well, what were areas for improvement, what were the feedback of the employers, what were the feedback of the students. In the bottom part of the handout, you'll see a sense of what we saw as the budget. Stipends for the students during the workshop is a daily stipend to defray the cost of their transportation. Then when they're actually interning with an employer, an hourly rate, the same as last year, of $10 per hour. Again, like last year and as in previous, although in the beginning the town paid for it entirely, but in the past few years we have suggested, and it has worked, in which the employer paid half and the town paid half. Last year, I believe there were 3 interns who actually interned with the town. So in that case, the town paid the full $10. I believe the assistance was in the assessor's office, in the clerk's office, and with the tax receiver's office. So we had 3 last year. Maybe we'll have 3 this year as well. Last year was interesting, at least to us. There were 4 or 5 who actually interned with the village of Portchester. So we kind of see that. We want to keep a balance between the nonprofits, the for-profit, as well as the government. This has just been, one of the, on a personal basis, been a very enjoyable program to see the youth. And just as a brief historical flashback, this started with John Rivas, who had said, we don't teach our kids in high school how to get a job. We tell them, go get a job, but we don't teach them how to get a job. So it's just amazing to see how far, and just kind of see light bulbs go off in that first week of the job readiness training of how do you communicate what you have as a skill when you haven't had any job. So I think it's been a great program, and again, appreciate the support of the council, and hopefully you have the opportunity to drop in on some of the sessions.
Thank you, Greg. I have a question. We're talking about private employment. I think we really should talk to the Chamber of Commerce.
Yes.
And Ken Manning, and get the chamber formally involved in getting its members to participate in the program.
I couldn't agree more. I think it's a nice fit with the chamber, especially the smaller businesses. The larger businesses are more difficult, but in the smaller businesses, like so many of the chamber members, it's a really nice fit. So we'll reach out to Ken and the chamber.
And as you mentioned, you worked with the village of Portchester. I could also open up the means of communication with the village of Mamaroneck to see if they're interested. I don't know if that's something that they would want to take on or whatever, but I'd be more than happy to help you with that.
Yeah, I think the idea of public service is extremely important, and a number of the students really, some were with the police, some were with finance, some were with planning, so they really got a nice sense when they worked in the village of Portchester. So that'd be great if that opportunity.
Mamaroneck is going to be getting a new village manager, and I know for one thing, maybe we can get an intern to work on the department that is going to be planning the Hillside Avenue Bridge. so that, so we have somebody on the inside of the village there to, an inside track. Just kidding, but
That'd be great. Yeah, that'd be very helpful. And again, I really encourage you to have the opportunity to come. The last day of the workshop is the opportunity for the students and the employers to kind of do a little speed dating, get to know each other, and to try to have a match. And it's great to have that opportunity.
And can I just ask you, because I know this is something that I see commonly in the workplace, do you work with the students during the workshop to do sort of professional communications, such as emails and so forth, and proper?
Especially the interview. I mean, that
Yeah.
seems to be the place where people tend to make impressions. We speak of, you got to, your resume or application's got to get chosen out of the pack, but that just gives you the opportunity to get to bat, and then how you come across. And for teenagers that tend to make a lot of noise, they just don't speak very much in the interview. And the eye contact and the smile and the handshake, all those things that communicate self-confidence, as well as confidence of being able to tackle something that they're new at.
I mean, even like a cover letter and as far as their resume and all their written, I know sometimes at work I get from young people emails that I'm like, what are they asking?
Yes, it's scary, and again, kudos to John Rivas back 6 years ago when he brought it out and said, hey, we got to do something, because it's, and then they wonder why they don't get a job.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Greg, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And any help you need, I would be.
May I follow up with you on that?
Yes,
Lauren?
yes,
If I
definitely.
could just ask, I don't know who would have the answer to this. Is this number, the budget number, reflective of what we budgeted for? Is this consistent with what's in the current budget?
It's exactly the same as last year.
And it's what's in the current,
It's completely within the programming section of the budget, which is sort of toward the end, with community outreach in that area.
and Greg, you're going to be the coordinator or the leader of the program?
I will certainly do the coordinating. We kind of have a team approach. I think over the years, you've probably met Alejandro Payan.
Right.
And Dave Thomas.
Okay.
So we're kind of a threesome on that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. Our reports, the assessor.
I don't know, do I have to stand here or can I stand back here? I'm good here? Okay, good evening Supervisor and honorable town board members. Just a quick report that I'm very happy to announce that the iLookabout team that's doing our street level photography has completed the drive around the town to take all the pictures of the properties, and this was before there are leaves on the trees, so I'm pleased about that. They're still categorizing and processing the photos, so I'm hoping for the May Town Board meeting, I could do a little presentation and show what they're doing and the software and what we can do with it. The next major announcement is the May 1st, 2017 deadline to apply for any exemptions or renew any exemptions is only 12 days away, maybe 11 now that today is complete. This deadline is extremely important because we can help anybody out now, but on May 2nd, we can't help them out. I will contact.
Can we put that on, I know that it's probably on your assessor's page, but can we put something like that on the front page of our website so that, when people go on the website, it hits them right away? Thank you.
Or maybe like a banner.
A banner,
Rolling banner.
yeah.
Yeah, a marquee kind of thing. Okay, and the other thing is I will contact the village administrators to see if they could do a robo-blast to the residents about the deadline, as well as the senior centers to get the word out again. And next month, I would do the same thing to remind everybody to check the tentative roll on June 1st, and just get the word out. And basically, that's all I have to report on.
Questions?
I have one, Denise, I know, and I was so excited to hear about this, the last meeting that you were going to the senior centers. to discuss tax exemptions with the seniors, because I think that's one group of people who are often taxed out of their homes, and I hate to see that. Have you gotten a wide response from those visits? Have a lot of seniors inquired about different exemptions, or?
They haven't really inquired. I mean, we've had a lot of them come through the office. Mostly it's renewals. I reached out to the Village of Mamaroneck, but nobody got back to me as far as planning a time or a date. If there is somebody who wants to contact me in terms of doing a meeting, I'm still happy to do a meeting with the seniors there. I think it's, the senior center is in conjunction with Larchmont, is that?
I know, I believe it's at Harbor Island. I know it may be a village in town of Mamaroneck sort of thing, but I can look into it.
Because the town of Mamaroneck, I believe they have the same deadlines we do, so it could be very useful to do that still.
Yeah.
There's still an opportunity. Okay. Any other questions? Good?
I would like to point out that the Citizens Task Force on Assessments is also preparing a mailing out to the community and will be offering educational programs about the assessment process after the exemption deadline has passed. So their programs will be in May.
Let me jump down to the receiver. Do you have a report, Nick? Just, do you have a reminder for everybody? I thought you might.
Pay your taxes? Short and sweet.
Good evening, everyone. Mr. Supervisor, members of the Town Council. Everybody should have their county and town bill by now. If you don't have the bill, please call the office, 939-3558. It's due in 2 weeks. You do have 2 weeks. You should have your bill. You actually have an extra day because of the 30th being on a Sunday. You can come into the office on Monday, May 1st, with no penalty. Okay? But please, it's only 2 weeks. Thank you. Any questions for me?
No, no, I don't have any questions.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Let me jump back to Crawford Park. Debbie and I have both been up at Crawford, and I don't know if, and Tommy especially. Tommy's been living at Crawford. And the pavilion work is well underway, and it looks like we're going to be completed on time around June 1st, I believe. From what I understand, I wasn't advised formally, but I believe the playground equipment may have been delivered, or some equipment was delivered to the playground. Am I wrong?
I was
Somebody
there.
told me that some equipment was being delivered.
Demolition equipment?
Maybe, yeah, I didn't see any.
They're preparing the surfacing right now.
But they're working on it.
They're
working on
Got
it.
it leveled out pretty well, but I didn't see any equipment there yet.
And hopefully at the next meeting, we will be advised that the bids are out on the sensory garden. And that is our goal for our next meeting. And we're moving ahead on on the work that has to be done at Crawford. The plans at the mansion have been slightly revised. The elevator has been moved into a more accessible location. And I think we're all pleased with the latest iteration of the plans. They're slightly modified from the ones that were at the meeting last month, and in fact are better. So I'm very pleased with that. Fine, Dave's not here. Do you have anything? No. Mr. Attorney, nope. Hope, you submitted your report. You have anything to add? Nothing? All right. Superintendent of Highways. Work is progressing. Superintendent is not here, but his report is submitted. Work is progressing on the Planning for the Hillside Avenue Bridge. The the RFQ is out. There was a meeting, and I think there were 6 consulting firms that viewed there was what was it, Debbie, and you were there too, right? What did they call it, an engineering consultation? A site visit. Yeah, by the engineers who may be the consultants to the project. Tommy, why don't you pick that up? You were there.
Well, yeah, Thank you. Surprise, thank you. Yeah, there were six designers there, going over. It was mandatory that they show up. What else? They were just going over, what was done by the Army Corps of Engineers, because some of the work was done by them. And going over how they want to have it. The bridge has got to keep some of the stonework. They want to try to keep it like period correct. And it's about all I can think of at the moment.
It's progressing. That's
Yeah,
the main
it's
idea.
progressing. It is
It's progressing.
Village of Mamaroneck, they're taking hold of it.
Right.
So,
Good. All right.
Very excited about the bridge.
I know you are.
it's been a long
Yes.
time.
Yes.
Because
Well,
when I was superintendent of highways, that's when that thing went down. They had the problem. That was a while ago.
You've been complaining about that bridge since you got on this board.
when I was born about 30 years ago, I guess we lived on Hillside Avenue, and that's kind of why I have an affinity for that bridge.
They also have the other side of the sidewalk closed too. The state closed that as well. So they,
And I have another question. I don't know if you know the answer, Tommy, but there was there's a cemetery, and I don't know which one it is, that sort of abuts Bellows.
That's the Gedney Cemetery.
The Gedney Cemetery, and I believe someone had mentioned there was some concern about the wall there. Do we have an update on that, or?
No.
Okay.
The wall is falling. It's not a high wall.
No.
And Dolph Rotfeld was looking into it and a methodology to restore it without actually ripping it down. So that was put on hold for the winter season, and we'll pick it up again now that it's construction season.
No, I just always remember throwing tennis balls up against that wall or something, so I have another affinity for that wall, too. Now that my Hillside Avenue Bridge is being fixed, I'm gonna,
So you're the one
Focus on the wall.
responsible for knocking that wall down. And
well,
I
don't
thought
think
it
I
was,
the only kid.
and I thought it was the roots from the trees that were doing that. Nope, it was you. Okay.
I'm not strong, you know?
All right, good. Well, do we have any comments from the council?
yeah, Crawford Park's move, I'm really intrigued about what Crawford Park. I'm so happy what's going on with Crawford. They're moving right along. The workmanship is really great. If you have the time, they got it fenced off, but the pavers that they're put on looks really, really nice that they've gotten done so far. And I'm looking really forward to when this is accomplished, as everything's finished.
Yeah, I agree with you. The pavers are done incredibly well.
Yeah.
I think Gary, Tom, Debbie, they've worked so hard on this. It's really amazing what you guys have done, and it's beautiful. It's very exciting.
And it's always tough to go last, but that's the one thing I was going to mention, is especially considering our last meeting, I felt it was a productive night. I thought it was a great celebration of that facility as it is now, and a great verbalization of what it's going to be and what our vision for it is. And I think everybody came away from that feeling really good about the project, so.
I think so too, Tony.
Yep.
I agree with you. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you all. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Bye.
Thank you. Meeting adjourned.
Well, that was good.